Alright, hello. It's a new video. New history video from me, which is going to be about the giants in the Bible and the fake nonsense online. I don't know if you guys have heard about the giants. You know, a lot of stuff goes around on the internet about these giants back in the day that, you know, came from another planet or whatever, and they find these big fossils of them, and people are making videos and stuff about this, and they're getting like 1 million views or whatever. Well, you know, that's all just nonsense. If they actually read the Bible, they would see that none of that stuff is true, and they would see who these giants were actually, who they actually were. So the premise of this history here that I'm about to present is the giants of the Bible are real people who were the Canaanites living in Canaan prior to the Israelite exodus out of Egypt, and probably were the kin to the Nakata or Anunnaki from Egypt. So you've probably also heard about Anunnaki. If you haven't watched my previous videos, please watch my previous videos to find out who they are, who they really are. Okay, so one of the sources that I'm going to use for this presentation here is from Reverend Sayce. In his book, he says that the conquest of Palestine by the king of Elam, Chedorlaomer, gives us a picture of the geography and ethnology of Palestine at the beginning of the patriarchal age. That the Rephaim people, or the giants as they're called, was a general epithet applied to the prehistoric population of Palestine, or Canaan. So Canaan is prehistoric Palestine. And then from my research, you know, taken from other experts in the field, the Nakata culture. Please watch my previous videos to find out what the Nakata culture is, who are the Anunnaki, the sun and the serpent tribe of Egypt, were heavily involved in trade with Palestine prior to the first dynasty of Egypt. So I want to just kind of connect the two. I want to connect Egypt and Palestine together before the first dynasty of Egypt. Sayce goes on to say that Abraham dwelt with the Amorite chieftains, and that the Amorites may have been the Anakim, who were the descendants of Anak, an ancient Canaanite god. So if you Anak is the, if you look at Anunnaki and Anak, it looks very similar, right? So these Anakim people living in Canaan were the descendants of a man named Anak, an ancient Canaanite god. And that the famous city of Hebron in southern Palestine, which was the capital of Judah for many years prior to Jerusalem, known during Abraham's time as Mamre, was under the rule of Anak's 3 sons and called Kirjath Arba. We're still on Sayce's book here. The giants of Rephaim were in the city of Ashtaroth in western Syria, east of the Jordan River, and also included the Anakim people. The Emim people were in Moab, and the Zamzumim people were in Ammon. And he says that doubtless they were a tall race compared to the Hebrews, and Arabs, and that the Israelite spies who came during the time of the Exodus seen themselves as grasshoppers compared to them. He goes on to say that it's possible that the name of these tall people was an ethnic one given to them by the Hebrews. For me, in my research, the Nakata people are the Hebrews. So this is an ethnic, he thinks that this is an ethnic name given to them by the Hebrews, or that the name sounded like the Hebrew word for giants. On the walls of the Karnak temple of the Canaanite towns, they were on the walls of the Karnak temple, the names of the Canaanite towns were written by the the names of the Canaanite towns that were conquered by Pharaoh Thutmose III were written on the walls of the Karnak temple. One of these names was Anu Ripa, in which Mr. Tompkins says is An Repa, meaning the An of the giants. We know that An in Egypt is the city Anu, or Heliopolis, the city of the sun in Egypt, and therefore we can infer, because of the three sons of Anak ruling in Palestine, that it means the sons of the giants, meaning the pharaohs of Egypt and these priests of Heliopolis were seen as giants compared to the rest of the people in the region. Later cities in the same region were given similar names. We know that Egypt ruled all of Palestine most of the time, and even when they didn't, they were present in the area with political influence. In the book of Deuteronomy, the Emim and the Zamzumim are called a people of great and many and tall. Say says that the Amorites were also like giants to the Israelite invaders. There was a Phoenician temple built in Gozo. This city was probably in Malta, but could be Gaza. It was called the Temple of Giants. Now, looking at Bible verses about the Rephaim and the giants, the Bible confirms Say's story that the king of Elam conquered the Rephaim, Emim, and Zuzim, the giants. The Lord gives Abraham the land in between the Nile and the Euphrates River where these people lived. The Philistines, known and connected to the Egyptians, heard that David, these are my words. I know that they're connected to the Egyptians. Heard that David had become king of Israel. So they went to find him, and they spread themselves across the valley of Rephaim, which included Bethlehem. So the city of Bethlehem, where Jesus was at, used to be a city of these Rephaim people. Deuteronomy 1 verse 127 and 28, an important note here is, because we don't know who the Lord is, who the Israelites are speaking of as Lord, is he the Pharaoh? The Israelites say, because the Lord hates us, he brought us out of Egypt. So what I'm saying here is, Moses says that his God Jehovah brought the Israelites out of Egypt. But are the Israelites here in this passage saying that? So their Lord, why would Jehovah hate them if it's his people? So that's why I'm saying, are these Israelites really speaking about the Pharaoh? So the Israelites say, because the Lord hates us, he brought us out of Egypt into the hand of the Amorites, the people who are greater and taller than us, and also the sons of the Anakim are there. Are there where they're going. Deuteronomy 2:10 and 11. The Emims are great and tall, and many like the Anakims, and they were as tall as the Anakims, like giants. Deuteronomy 2:20. Giants were in Ammon. Now, Ham is always talked about as being the name of Egypt. But here it's the name of Ammon, which is in Palestine. And Ammon is the same as Amen, the Egyptian god. And therefore, are these Egyptians in Palestine that we're talking about? In the old days, so giants were in Ammon in the old days, and the Ammonites called them Zamzumims, the giants. Deuteronomy verse 9:2. The Anakim are the children of Anak. After Joshua killed the Anakim, the only ones that were left were in the Philistine cities of Gaza, Gath, and Ashdod. So therefore, all of this, my conclusion of all of this is the metaphor of the story of David and the giant Goliath is thus a story of the Canaanite natives in Palestine, who were tall men living in Canaan before the Israelite exodus out of Egypt, and compared to the Israelite invaders who were short like grasshoppers, they looked like giants. My sources for this are, see my previous videos. I name my sources in my previous videos. Sayce in his book Patriotic Palestine, Canaan and the Canaanites before the Israelitish conquest, and Bible Gateway Online using the authorized King James Version of the Holy Bible. Alright, that's it for this one. Thank you very much. Appreciate it. You can comment, let me know if you have any questions.